knowledge of a lot of words.
Only young learners, Mr. Ahmed, only young learners
No,
using
not
TPR?
young learners
Of
and older
course.
also.
Yeah, of course. All of us like to move, to stand up, to sit down, not to still stable at all the
Yes.
time. We feel bored and we feel sleepy sometimes. If you are listening
Yes.
to a professor at university lecturing for 2 years or a whole time of 2 hours, you feel maybe frustrated sometimes, you feel tired, you feel bored and sick sometimes. So I think TPR is very useful for all young and adult people. And let's complete the video again. And I'd like to let you watch a video. I love it so much. It's
Yes.
also about TPR. It's
I think the best teacher, the best teacher who was able to deal with the gestures and facial expressions and to
of
transmit
course.
all the knowledge for vocabulary through using TPR. Yes.
Yeah, of course, of course.
It's similar to the game
Find that
listen
all
and
the
do.
learners are yeah, of course. All the learners are involved. They are practicing the language. As you have noticed, they are acting, they are role playing, they are listening and responding to the teacher. It's not just listening or having some lectures, but they practice the language. They use
Yes.
they use their gestures, eye contact, communication skills, of course, everything. So I hope I like the video. It's for an old man, by the way. We're up and down. I hope I remember it. Not this. No, I forgot it. Yes, 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 yes.
Yes.
This is a TPR model.
Yes.
Good morning.
Yes.
Very good video. Great
How
Yeah.
are you? Okay, everybody stand up.
Up and
Everybody
down.
say up.
Yeah.
Yes.
More lively, more genki. Up.
By the way, at the beginning, he greeted his learners. This is very important at the first part of the lesson or of the day to greet your
Suitable for
learners.
KG.
Yeah,
Yes.
wallahi, I tried it with the grade 5 and 6 with adults with the higher levels of students. They love it. They love to move, to play, to have
Yes.
fun, to enjoy their time, to have some energy before they start.
Very fun
Ye-
for the KG and for this young age. I
Yes,
think.
and also in a training session, I tried it with my colleagues. They were really happy to try something different and move from time to time. They learn a lot of things. Let's switch it together.
Down. Up. Down. Big. Small. Big. Small. Longer. Short. Longer. Short. High. High. Low. High. Low. High. Fast. 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 Slow. Slow. Fast. Fast. Close. Close it. Open. Close it. Open. Right. おー、半分以上ですね。こっちだよ。Right. こっち。Left. Right. おー、全部 OK。Left. はい。もう一回。Right. Left. On. Off. On. Off. In. Out. In. Out. Under. Over. Under. Over. Yes. No. Yes. No. I don't know. I don't know. Yes. No. I don't know. Yes. No. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. Sit down.
So what do you think of a TPR class? What do you think about it?
It's as the same as mine. I have
Yes.
some videos like that. It's the first time
Interactive.
to see this video.
Almost
but I
creative,
like
Miss Ed.
We're eager,
Yes.
Hannah, to share your videos with us, please. So please share it with us, okay? So
I have the same video with my class.
that's a great, Hannah. That's really great.
I
And
always
by-
play like this with my class.
Yes. Okay. By the way, my dear colleagues and friends, it's nice to try something like this, and don't be shy, because I think most of us feel shy to try something like this with our learners. We sometimes feel some people will look at us, some people are watching, or some colleagues are watching and saying some bad comments or some bad impressions. We don't care about others at all when we work with our learners. It's your world, and you have to explore it together. So I hope you'll try this video with them. No matter if they are young or old, it will be okay, inshallah. And I am sure if you try it, you'll like it and you'll enjoy your time with your learners. Have you noticed how many parts of the language did the teacher used with his learners? What language did or vocabulary did he use with them? Can you tell me your
Prepositions
Adjectives, yes.
and adjectives.
adjectives, excellent. Synonyms, maybe
and
antonyms,
conjunctions.
words and opposites,
Mhm.
big, small, in, out, and so on. Also, he
Action
used what?
verbs,
Excellent.
prepositions.
Action verbs and yes, prepositions of place, in, out, on, up,
Answer.
down, and so on. Also, he some phrases were asking about the manners at the beginning. How are you? And they respond, I'm fine, thank you. What else did he use? How many skills did he use? Have you noticed how many skills? So he used as part of the language. They practiced the vocabulary of adjectives, prepositions, of course, and the directions left and right. Have you noticed? The directions
Yes.
also left and right, up and down. Okay. What skills did the teacher use with his learners?
Listening and reading.
Listening, speaking, yes, miming, gesturing, playing, the role play or Yeah, they acted like the teacher, or they responded very quickly. And did he, or is his class a big or a small one? Is it a large number class or a small
A
number
bit
class?
more. A bit
Of
more.
course. So if you look at the video again, or if you watch the video again, you will find it's a large number class. So no matter if your class is big or small, you are the manager of the whole process. You are the leader of your classroom, and you can do whatever you imagine you can do it. But before, you have to believe you are able to do it. Okay. So
Yes.
is the TPR, is it effective in teaching English as a foreign language? Is it effective?
Yes.
Yes.
Students
Of
can
course.
memorize the words.
Only memorize Hannah, or do they reach higher levels of role playing and analyzing and acting and expressing themselves?
Yes,
Yes,
they can.
expressing.
Yeah, it's more than only memorizing. It's it becomes higher and higher. They apply the things they learned before. Okay, so let's move to another video. So how many approaches do we watch till now? We watched the CLT. What do we mean by CLT? CLT.
Communicative
Yes,
language
the
teaching.
communicative language, yeah, approach, of course. And what is the focus of the communicative approach? What is the main focus?
And the communication and
Or the
Yes,
content.
the meaning
the
and the
content,
content, and of
the
course,
context. Yes.
do we focus more on grammar, or grammar only is only a tool to teach the language and practice the language?
It doesn't focus
It's a
on
tool to
grammar.
communicate.
Yeah, it's only a
It's just
tool
a
to
tool.
help learners communicate. And the most important point is to help learners to be or to communicate naturally. We all
Speak
have,
fluently.
yeah, of course, to speak freely, not to be afraid to have mistakes or to make some errors. Of course, we are all humans, and it's a human to err, of course. كلنا بنغلط. But it's very important to encourage and push them and motivate them all the time to communicate, no matter if their language is not accurate enough. It's not, and by the way, the main focus is not on accuracy, but on fluency till they become perfect enough or familiar enough with using the language, and the accuracy comes after that. Okay. So now we are going to watch another video about another approach and discuss it together and give our feedback on this approach, the advantages, the disadvantages, and how can we apply it with our learners. Okay. Bismillah. Noha, are you the host, Noha? Noha.
Yes, she's
Yes, I'm
recording.
the host. I'm sorry, but
Okay.
I was talking
No
and I
problem.
didn't notice I was mute.
Are you eating with Noah?
Okay, this is another approach. It's the audiolingual method, and
Hello.
from its name, audio. What does it focus on? Audiolingual. What is the focus of the audiolingual approach?
Listening.
Yes, of course, listening.
Listening.
So if we focus on the different approaches, we'll find different focuses of every different approach. One of them focuses on speaking at the first as a first skill. The communicative, the focus is the main focus is on speaking, which of course comes after listening. But in the audio, we will see they depend more on listening most of the time, and after that interact or respond to what they
My
are
name is
listening
Diane
at.
Larson
Okay.
Freeman. I'm a teacher educator at the School for International Training. It's common in language teaching education programs to survey current language teaching methodologies. At SIT, we do this by giving our teacher trainees a direct experience with each method. The purpose of this videotape series is to provide you with a similar, though vicarious experience involving 6 common methods: the Audiolingual Method, community language learning, the comprehension approach, Suggestopedia, Silent Way, and the Communicative Approach. The intermediate level lessons you will observe were taped at the television studios of the USIA in Washington, D.C., and it is through the courtesy of the USIA that this program is being made available to you. The students were all volunteers who were studying English at the time. The instructors are experienced language teachers and teacher educators from SIT, who have each taught students in various parts of the world using the methods they demonstrate for you here. For the sake of coherence, the instructors have designed their lessons around a common theme, namely that of a house. What you will see are somewhat condensed versions of the original lessons. All of the steps of the lessons have been preserved, but some of the participation has been trimmed in the interest of time. The instructors have tried to faithfully depict each method, but of course, each instructor is also putting the principles into practice based upon his or her interpretation and experience. First, I will introduce each method. Next, you will observe the method in practice. Afterwards, I will point out the salient techniques and principles associated with each method. The lessons are meant only to introduce you to these methods. All of the methods have a richer repertoire of principles and techniques than can be fully portrayed here. If you wish to apply to your own situation, for example, there are about 25 students participating in these lessons. Your own classes may be much larger than these. Rather than thinking, this will never work with a large class, think instead, is there anything worthwhile for me in this technique? And if the answer is affirmative, next, ask yourself, how then can I adapt this technique to my own circumstances? Or, what other way can I put this principle into practice? Let your imagination create the possibilities for you. The first method we will observe is the Audiolingual Method, or ALM. It's a method with which many of you may already be familiar. My colleague, Michael Gerald, will now demonstrate the ALM. Watch carefully what the teacher is doing and what he is asking the students to do.
Good morning, class.
Good morning. How are you?
Fine, thanks. How are you?
Fine, thanks.
Good. I'm happy to hear that. Today's lesson is going to be about two people, about a salesman, a special kind of a salesman. Now, you know what a salesman is. That's a person who sells something to somebody else, a salesman. We're going to, today the salesman is a vacuum cleaner salesman, and the other person, here's the vacuum cleaner salesman, and let me write that. The other person is a woman, or we could call her a housewife. So now, I want you to just listen and watch what I do. Listen carefully, watch what I do, and try to understand, okay? Now, I'm the salesman now, okay? I'm going to be both people. I'm going to play two roles. I'm going to be the salesman and the woman. Okay. Ring, 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 ring. Ring, 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 ring. Now, the woman. Hello? Hello, madam. Would you like to have the cleanest house in town? Yes, of course I would. Then, madam, you need the amazing Hoover vacuum cleaner. No, I don't. Salesman. What? Why not? Because my husband does the cleaning in our house. Oh. Okay, now listen, and I'll do it one more time. You just listen and don't talk this time. Listen again, I'll do it one more time. Salesman. Rings the bell. Woman. Good morning. Good morning, madam. Would you like to have the cleanest house in town? Yes, of course I would. Then, madam, you need the amazing Hoover. We're going to learn this together now. I'm going to help you learn how to say this whole dialogue, okay? So, please repeat. The first line is the woman says, "Good morning." Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. The salesman says, "Good morning. Would you like to have the cleanest house in town?"
Good morning. Would you like to have the cleanest house in town?
Okay. House in town. Just say that much. House in town. The cleanest house in town.
The cleanest house in town.
Okay. Now just group D here. The cleanest house in town.
The cleanest house in town.
A. The cleanest house in... That's okay. The cleanest house in town.
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 Okay, now just you. The cleanest house in town.
The cleanest house in town. The cleanest house in town.
The cleanest house in town.
The cleanest house in town.
Cleanest.
Cleanest.
The cleanest house in town.
The cleanest.
What does the teacher depend on here?
Repetition. Listening.
Yeah, repetition. Yes, listening. And are there any stages for listening? The listening is
Yes, they listen
listening.
first
Yeah.
to the audio or the
Yeah.
yes. they
before
listen to the audio
before
and
the
after
the
repeats
audio,
dialogue.
Mr. Ahmed. Yes, but before the
Present
audio.
the situation.
Yes, that's right,
Yes,
Amani. So
he
we have
practiced, yes.
post skills. Before listening, the teacher gives some demonstration or give some instructions or guidance to the learners. After that, during the listening, the teacher tries to act or role play the whole dialogue or conversation or the whole situation. And of course, after listening, and if you notice that the teacher told them to listen only, and after that to listen and repeat, and after that divided them into groups and asked each group to listen and repeat after him. So here in this technique or this approach, the listening, the audio lingual method, it depends on, as you mentioned, on of course listening and repetition. Let's go on or complete and watch, notice the rest.
Good, very good. Okay. This group, the cleanest house in town.
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 Ah, no, just right now, just this group, okay? That's good. In a minute, in a minute. The salesman says, "Good morning, madam. Would you like to have the cleanest house in town?"
Good morning, madam. Would you like to have the cleanest house in town?
Okay, good. Now the woman says, "Yes, of course I would."
Yes, of course I would.
Yes, of course I would.
Yes, of course I would.
All right, this
Does it
half of the-
depend on pair work, individual work, or group work, or all of these techniques?
The whole class.
Yeah,
Group
the
work.
whole class.
All
First individual work when the teacher demonstrated the whole lesson. So this is individual. After
Yes.
that, when he divided his class into two groups, it's pair work, maybe starting with the men and after that the women and so on. And after that group work, the whole class. And all the time, the focus is on listening and repetition. And of course, speaking comes at the first level of this approach, okay?
Yes.
class. Yes, of course I would.
Yes, of course I would.
This half. Yes, of course I would.
Yes, of course I would.
You please. Yes, of course I would.
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 Yes, you have to say it with feeling, right? Yes, of course I would.
Yes, of course I
Yes,
would.
good, thank you. You, sir.
Yes, of course I would.
Yes, of course I would.
Yes, of course I would.
Okay, everybody. Yes, of course I would.
Yes, of course I would.
Salesman says, then, madam, you need the amazing Hoover vacuum cleaner.
Then, madam, you need an amazing vacuum cleaner.
Vacuum cleaner.
Vacuum cleaner.
Hoover vacuum cleaner.
Hoover vacuum cleaner.
The amazing Hoover vacuum cleaner.
The amazing Hoover vacuum cleaner.
Then, madam, you need the amazing Hoover vacuum cleaner.
Then, madam, you need an amazing Hoover vacuum cleaner.
Okay, this group. Then, madam, you need the amazing... Okay, Good morning, madam. Would you like to have the cleanest house in town?
Good morning, madam. Would you like to have the cleanest house in town?
Yes, of course. Okay, everybody together. What? Why not?
What? Why not?
Okay. And the woman says, because my husband does the cleaning in our house.
Because my husband does the cleaning in our house.
In our house.
In our house.
The cleaning in our house. Then, madam, you need the amazing Hoover vacuum cleaner.
No, I don't.
What? Why not?
Because my husband does it in our house.
Oh.
Yes.
And we need a woman. Sonia? Please. Oh, just you begin. Ring the bell.
Good morning.
Good morning, madam. Would you like to have the cleanest house in town?
Of course.
Then,
Good.
I got the amazing Hoover vacuum cleaner.
Then you need this.
You need the amazing Hoover vacuum cleaner.
Oh no, I don't.
What? Why not?
Because my husband does the cleaning in our house.
Oh.
So can we apply this approach in our classes?
Yes, role playing.
Yeah, of course. I think all of us are using this approach, especially we don't have the suitable material or the sufficient material for all our lessons. So the teacher here is depending on his voice and the simple realia like the vacuum cleaner, and of course the role play, and all the time the learners are repeating and modeling the situation. So I think it's easy. Okay.
House, town.
In town.
In town.
Okay, good. Would you like to have... Now you asked me the questions. Cleanest house. Ask me the question.
Would you like to have the cleanest house in town?
Yes, of course I would. Prettiest house.
Would you like to have...
Okay, now this time I'll read it and then you repeat after me. Read it and repeat, okay?
Okay,
Good
does
morning.
it involve all the learners?
Yes.
So what are the benefits of this approach?
Make all learners participate and interact, and at the same time they listen and repeat the whole class.
Yes, so involving all the learners.
Communication.
And
I mean,
of course, yes,
kind of communication.
Yeah,
Yes.
of course, communication. So again, so how many approaches have we taken till now? Yes, Amani? Yes, okay.
They
Yes,
can feel what, yes, they can feel what they say. Just feel the
yeah,
language.
of course. So they can feel the language, and of course they can practice and express themselves using the language. Excellent, Amin. Okay, so how many approaches have we taken till now? The CLT, TPR, and ALM. Yes. What does CLT stand for? CLT? Communicative learning. Yeah, the language teaching approach. And what about TPR? Total
physical
response. By total physical response, we mean using all body parts to respond
Body
to the
and
language.
gestures and facial
Yeah, of course,
expressions.
the body, the verbal, of course, and here there is a very important point, which is the verbal and the non-verbal language, with just gestures, nodding, using the body parts, using the eye contact and everything to express the language. What about ALM? ALM means lingual, yes, method or approach. Okay, let's watch another video about another different approach and to evaluate which is the best one at the end, inshallah. Okay, so here is another approach. It's the communicative approach to once more again, but I'll work it quickly
that you find
to
in
give
big
example,
city
because
life.
the previous one I think was not good enough.
Better jobs, okay?
After the students give all their reasons, the teacher gives an example of how one might make a case for living in a big city.
Finally, there's a wider variety of people that you can meet in a big city. Now, what I just did was structure my persuasion in a certain way that we like to do in English. And one term you can use for this structure is making a case. Okay, and if we look at this structure, it's what I just did. We open, citing one reason, and we say something like to begin with or first of all. And then we strengthen or build the argument. We cite additional reasons. And we use some of these expressions to make a transition from one reason to another. Besides that, in addition, moreover, furthermore. And the third part of the argument, or making the case, is perhaps a summary of the main reason or a final reason, right? Now, who can, working with this structure, who can make a case for, let's say, South Florida? Many of you know about Florida. How many people have been to Florida yet? A few of you, but you've all heard of it. Who can make a case for living in Florida using that?
What technique do you think the teacher is using in the communicative approach? In the audiolingual, the teacher depended on repetition, modeling, and drilling. What about the communicative approach? What technique did he depend on?
Questioning.
Yeah, questioning. Yes, great. Questioning. Yeah, discussion. He's discussing the topic with the learners, and also problem solving. They pick a topic and they try to talk about it and to deal with a problem and discuss it together. Okay.
Kind of a formula. Who can start off? Marta?
Well, okay, I should try to convince. In short, I think that the place convenient for you, it has a very
critical
good
thinking also
all year round.
Absolutely.
You should go there.
I'm ready to go. Goodbye. Yes, who's going to teach you? Okay, well, that's very good. That's the idea. And that's the type of argument you can make in a written form, or when you're, for example, at a business meeting and you're trying to present your point of view, you might use this kind of structure. Okay? Now, we're going to go to the role play that I mentioned before, and you're each going to get a chance to practice making a case. Okay? Now, here is what we're going to do in the role play. First of all, you're going to divide into groups of 4, and you will each receive a card. On the card is your identity for the role play. Each of you will be one of the children, me, Alex, Charlie, who lives in Philadelphia, or my sister Lynn, who lives in Madison, a small city in Wisconsin. The 4th person in the group will state the reasons why. Okay? So each child makes the case. Bill or Sarah listens, thinks about the arguments, and decides which is the best one, the most convincing one. Then, after that, we'll come back in the large group, and I'll ask the Bills and Sarahs to report on what they decided. Okay? Any questions about the procedure? Okay, could you move into groups of 4? And I will give you your cards.
Does it depend on pair work or group work?
Group 1.
Yeah, of course, group work.
The year is research.
Do research.
Yes.
So libraries are important to you.
And I like to swim in the sea.
And the sea isn't too far.
Yes.
Right.
But he has his own boat too.
Oh, he has his own boat?
Yes.
Oh, that's great. Okay, great. So we have 1 vote for Philadelphia. Okay, 1 vote for Philadelphia. Okay, parent Ibrahima?
I decided to join Alex in Massachusetts.
Oh,
yeah.
Thank you.
First of all, I have an opportunity to do my job correctly in a town which is not polluted.
polluted.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not polluted.
I think I like all of my children. Besides that, we are retired. We have a lot of time to go out to look around. It's good for.
So what skills do they use here? What kind of skills or levels of Bloom's taxonomy do they use in this lesson, okay, to express themselves or in this communicative approach?
Applying, analyzing.
Yes, applying, analyzing, they brainstorm their ideas, they collect ideas, they try to express themselves, they are depending on debates, and they have some votes about different places and different countries. Do they have any grammar lessons here or any kinds of or sort of grammar focus here?
Yes, the opening words, like first of all.
Yes, but are they
not the content?
Yeah, it's not the main focus of the lesson. The main focus is to communicate together and express their ideas using these pieces of grammar to express and talk about themselves and discuss the topic with others. Okay,
practice the language.
Of course, to practice the language, and this is the core. And of course, at the first the main point is to practice the language naturally. And as you noticed, they all express themselves freely without any stress or control from the teacher. The teacher is only giving feedback or reflection after they finish or express themselves, okay? So this is also the communicative approach. And we'll move to another one quickly, inshallah.
We only have 2 minutes left.
Okay, you know how we try to consume
No,
time.
I'm not. I said we think started with the next session.
Yes, it's going to finish. No, don't worry.
It's less than 2 minutes.
Okay, inshallah, we'll find.
No, I just want to say it as a whole. That's it. I don't want to to be interrupted. That's it.
Okay, no problem at all. I try to prepare a lot of things for you. Allah, I try to pick the most suitable and relevant ones and the most beneficial ones. There are long videos, about 40 minutes, but of course, I don't choose them at all. We're expressing issues now, don't worry. The natural approach.
Great effort.
Okay.
We do appreciate that.
Thank you. Okay, this is the natural approach. We'll complete after that. No problem.
We are going to discuss a helpful teaching method called the direct approach.
Direct or
what
natural?
Might that be? I'm glad you asked. The direct approach to language learning is a form of immersion method. You may have heard of learning language by immersion before. It simply means that you are taught a language by only hearing and communicating in the language that you are trying to learn. You are using this method with your students in the lessons as you only speak English with them and not Chinese. The direct approach extends this idea into a few important points. This method focuses on language use instead of language structure and grammar rules. Notice that in the curriculum that you teach, there is not a large focus on learning the rules of the English language. The focus is instead shifted to oral communication with target words and target language. You have probably noticed that each lesson has different target words and language that is heavily used throughout the class. In a beginner class, it might be something like, "Hello, my name is Sarah. How are you?" And in an advanced class, it might be something like, "Do you think cherries are better than grapes?" Maybe, but I also think oranges are good too. One of the most important aspects of the direct approach instruction is you. Yes, the native speaking teacher is integral as this